We do this every week. My name is Bob Erbig. I'm the lead pastor for Preaching, Family Life, and Mission, and I am joined to my right by...
Dave Henschel, lead pastor, Preaching, Spiritual Formation, and Care.
And to my left...
Johnny Graves, Director of Youth, Young Adults, and Production Ministries.
All right, we're glad you're with us today. We're going to get a little update from Johnny about what's going on with the youth and the teens and the young adults and all that. Then we're gonna dive into the exposition of Ecclesiastes chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Which Dave walked us through
Making
yesterday.
progress.
It's walking through a huge maze. These last couple chapters here, Dave. I think it's gonna.
I'm lost in there somewhere.
I feel like I'm going deeper into the
Help
void.
me. Come find me.
I'm not sure we're getting out by chapter
me out.
12. We might be so far in.
Bob, I lost you.
All right. Well, let's start with some encouraging news. Johnny, what's going on with the teens? How can you encourage us today?
Sure. Well, along with one of the small groups, I guess, of church, we are doing the Alpha series as well.
Mm-hmm.
They do a youth series, so it's a little more tailored for the teenagers. So the hosts, I think, are a little different, and some of the content they share are a little more for a teen audience. And we've been doing that for, I think we just finished our 4th week. So it's been good, a little different. We're doing videos. So typically, or almost all the time, we do live preaching, either by myself or one of our youth leaders. So we've been doing some videos, and that has been going well. We also been trying out a new format. Typically, we preach, teach, and then we break into small groups and discuss. But this one has interaction in the middle of videos.
Mm-hmm.
So, they'll be going on for 5-7 minutes, and they'll make you pause, talk about a question amidst your little small group. So it's been fun getting to digest the video as it goes along, and we've been doing little pods and circles with students. So it's been a fun series, breaking down, Christianity back to the basics of who God is, who Jesus is, why did he have to die, and we've had some new students come in through that. So it's been good. Really enjoyed it.
How have the teens been receiving that? Has there been some friends that have been invited? Has there been some real connection with what they're presenting?
Yeah. So the week previous to our first week, we did kind of a big outreach push of a message that I gave, just trying to push students to invite some friends, and really, if they had questions about faith, about God, or what it's all about. So the first week, I think we had 4 or 5 new kids, and then from then we've had some other ones trickle in here or there. So I think students are hopefully feel a little more bold about their faith and sharing it, and not being embarrassed to invite a friend to church.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for doing that. That's it's exciting. I know. In our group, we've seen a few new faces that have rolled in, so it's kind of why we're doing it. Hopefully, we'll see some people come to know the Lord, or at least get connected with the church as a result. Anything else going on that we should know about?
Yeah, we just 2 weeks ago, opened up our annual summer mission trip signups. So the last year we went to Kentucky into the middle of Pike County. We took a big crowd. We brought about 24 students down. We brought 24 back, which is good.
Better than bringing back 22.
Right. So this year we are going to New Haven, Connecticut. So this will actually be my closest trip, other than some of our local ones a few years ago. But this will be one of our closest trips. So it'll be interesting to have a short car ride. We did 13 hours to Kentucky last year. We'll be due about 2.5, however far to Connecticut. So it'll feel quite short, but we're excited. The ministries we connected with last year were great. And we're going back with the same organization. And
what's the name of the organization?
Experience Mission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We just love the mindset of partnering with local ministries. So we don't go in, make this great impact, and then just leave and hope it works out. So we go somewhere there where ministry is already happening, and when we leave, it's continuing. So
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's real encouraging, and thank you for your leadership with the teens and the young adults.
Stay
production
tuned for more information about how you can help fundraise, right?
Yes,
So
fundraisers coming.
there'll be some opportunities.
Donuts,
That's right. You
pizza,
can give.
car washes, all good things.
Get ready.
All right. Well, speaking of the backwater area of Kentucky, that's kind of what the back half of Ecclesiastes feels a bit like. So, Dave, you were leading us further in the series. We got to Ecclesiastes 9.
Man,
and
I was leading.
All I
We're in
heard you.
trouble.
What'd you say?
I was leading. We might be in trouble. I'm sure I intended anyone to follow me.
Well, when I remember last week around this time, and even a couple days after, you just kept saying, I don't know what I'm doing with this passage. So.
You're not supposed to tell anybody about that.
What is going on here in Ecclesiastes?
I don't know what he's talking about.
So,
I don't recall this.
Tell me your experience walking through Ecclesiastes 9, and then I got a few specific questions for you.
Okay.
Johnny can jump in with the hard questions.
If I read 6 commentaries on that that passage, I got 6 different breakdowns. Nobody agrees in terms of what is the main theme there, what it's connected to, how far I should go. I had some people saying it's half as big as I thought. Some people said it was like 3 chapters long. There's this one theme. It was very, very difficult to dissect all that. So
it seems like that every single section in these later parts, that's what they keep saying. Nobody agrees on how to break it down.
Yeah.
It's like the wild, wild west of interpretation.
It is.
Second half of Ecclesiastes.
It is.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
It kind of is. Yeah. In terms of commentaries, there's not a whole lot of people that have already published on this, and there's not really a big mutual agreement in terms of a consensus about what all this stuff is about. So
it's like the schism in church history that you're going over. Like,
yes, there's been some unfortunate divisions that are sad in church history.
Yeah, and with Ecclesiastes.
Yep.
I'm sure there's no division over death happening to everybody.
That's right.
So
we're all agreeing upon that, I think.
Right.
we all got
So,
that.
As far as I know, that's something we can all.
Well, speaking of, why don't we
together
start there? So, death. All right, let's talk about death,
chat.
right?
Coffee?
Coffee over death. So, you know what? My question with the death piece is why is it that you think people don't want to, like, are so afraid to talk about death? Like, people, that's the one thing they don't want to bring up. Why is that?
Yeah. I mean, it's scary because you lose control. There's no options there. Some people are not clear about what's going to happen afterward. Actually, I would say, let me back up. There's not just people who are in denial and don't want to talk about death. There's also people who just don't want to admit the tragedy of it. So they would rather talk about it like it's a really good thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to go to glory and it's going to be like really wonderful. Like, that's not a Christian way to talk about death. So yes, we have hope beyond the grave. Yes, heaven is wonderful. Death in the Bible is not your friend and your door to God. Death is the enemy that's a consequence of our fallenness, and we're being ripped apart, soul and body, in that moment in a way that we never should be have been torn apart. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So yes, where there's victory over death, but you're skipping way over the fact that this is not good. This is not good. Funerals are not good.
I just read this article. Music fans out there, but one of the last remaining member of Lynyrd Skynyrd just passed away. The guitarist.
And that's the Sweet Home Alabama guy?
Freebird. Sweet Home.
Sweet Home Alabama.
My word, I didn't hear about this
Yeah,
news.
he's the last remaining member. And an
You
article.
give me a heads up prior to the podcast about this kind of thing, man.
In the article, they're like saying how he's up there in heaven playing jams with his boys and everything. And I'm like, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know him and the whole Lynyrd Skynyrd faith base, but it's he died and he's playing guitar up in heaven.
Right.
Like that was the article.
Yeah.
It was like,
It's a positive day.
yeah.
Well,
yeah,
whenever anybody dies, no matter what you thought of their spiritual state, we're always like, we always try to make it sound pretty good, right?
Yeah. Well, generally about suffering, we would always like to not talk about it. So we just try to make it better. Because I'm uncomfortable talking about your suffering. So I'm going to try to make it better for you. And really, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like,
making me uncomfortable right now, so maybe we should move on.
Oh.
Well, okay,
I have
no,
that effect on people.
but not moving on. So the other thing you said in the message was, and I think this is what Solomon was getting at, is that one constant in life is that everybody dies. And yet, I think there's some segments of culture and conversations that are trying to figure out ways to avoid death. So people are doing crazy things like freezing their body and embracing philosophies like a transhumanism, where we can somehow take our consciousness and put it in a computer and live on forever and ever and ever as a Mac. Live my consciousness in this iPad right here. So, I mean, what's the fascination with trying to beat death? Like, people see death as not a good thing.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, and how does that square with what Solomon was saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of the same. I'd rather not admit that I'm not like God. In Genesis 3, we want to be like God. We want to have the power over all of these things that we really don't have.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to solve it by putting my consciousness in an iPad, that's not going to work. Like, I'm not the iPad in the future. That's just some duplication of me. It might look exactly like me or think exactly like me, but that's not me, right? There's not a, what do they call that? Singularity. It's not, why should I care about that future iPad version of me, right? It's not even me. I would be dead, right? So we can't solve it. We can't actually
It's not a
get beyond it.
simulation, like the Matrix simulation.
It could be a simulation, but I'm not the simulation, right? So it's something else. It's another creature that's just like me in some clone version of me, but it's not me. So that doesn't actually solve my problem, even though there's some Dave iPad in the future. The other Dave's dead in the ground, right? So
The real Dave.
the real Dave is not going to make it. So I got to face this thing called death. Right?
Oh, we did that. Was it during the Promises series? We did the physical Dave and the digital Dave, right?
A digital
Remember that?
Dave, yes.
I remember some fun had at my expense. Something. There was a big picture of my face on the screen.
There was. There was, yes. Well, I was reading a commentary today about the passage I'm preaching on next week, and one of the things was a quote from Martin Luther, who just simply said, man, this Solomon has got some harsh transitions in Ecclesiastes.
Luther said that.
10, yeah. That was from, he wrote it down, I guess. So speaking of harsh transitions, I'm going to go from death to the beef patty.
I agree with Luther. I can't believe you're reading Luther.
Well, he was
Ecclesiastes.
quoted in one of the guys that was doing a commentary on it. So I guess he's got something on it. I'll have to dig it up.
folks.
There you go.
This guy's the real deal.
So you said that the middle of Ecclesiastes 9 is like a beef patty. Can you explain a bit more?
Oh, yeah.
Where did McDonald's come in here? In the
Yeah.
midst of, well, maybe that's why death came in, because people ate too much of the beef patty in the passage.
You know, if you get a double at McDonald's, it's like $2. Okay. And you could just say, like a Mac, and they'll put the lettuce and the sauce on it, and you don't have to pay the price for the Big Mac. You could just get like a double cheeseburger like a Mac, and you save it's like half. the price.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's free. But the sandwich
This is a recent
technique-
experience, or this was like before?
I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it yet. So
You're getting your insider information.
the sandwich technique is, you see this in the Bible a lot, where it's got like top and bottom, and then something really important in the middle. So in that way, I went out of order in the passage, because I think the middle is important. So for a sermon, it works better at the end, to like the main point at the end. So I just went out of order.
Yeah.
Hopefully that wasn't too confusing.
I don't think it was.
I
All right,
think
Johnny.
you introduced the chiasm a couple of weeks ago.
I did.
I heard the
I
word.
did. It was there,
I got excited.
and you did the beef patty. So
The beef
you brought
patty,
it home.
the burger.
All right. You got any questions over there? What do you think? What questions do you have from this passage?
I mean, well, first of all, I just want to just compliment you. You got an amen to a William Wallace quote.
Did I?
You got some ums and amens to William
I
Wallace.
didn't hear them.
So,
Sometimes
I mean,
I
just
missed
Dying.
you want to know how your day went? That's how it went.
I wanted a harsher Scottish. Dying many years from now.
Oh my gosh. This is
What will you
good.
trade?
Wow.
Freedom.
So the
If
crowd.
it's not Scottish, it's crap.
That's
This guy's good.
haggish. I took a Scottish literature class when I was in college for my lit major.
I don't
That's
think
pretty
I had the
interesting.
William Wallace thing in the run through, did I?
You did not.
I thought of that the next day. I'm like, that's a good
Yeah.
thing there. It fit, right?
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
liked it? I
Yeah.
got an amen. I didn't even
You
know.
got an
Yeah,
amen.
there you go.
Because Adam was home.
He wasn't
So
him.
It wasn't
I
from
know.
him.
I know.
Somebody
He's been
else.
sick. All right, that's good to know. So
All right.
Just quote a little Braveheart. You get some amen.
Right.
Well, you made one really provocative statement that I think was from you, and that was talking about wisdom. You said wisdom provides an edge, but it does not provide immunity. Commenting on, and actually, I thought it brought us back to chapter 8, verses 16 and 17, and talking about what wisdom, even though the wise think they're so wise and yet they're not.
Man.
So, what did what were you kind of getting at there?
Okay. So I think I don't want to minimize the importance of living wisely and living righteously, because he's not doing that. He's not saying, the heck with it, throw caution to the wind, don't even bother reading my book of Proverbs because it doesn't make a difference. That's not what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
But he is saying it's not a guarantee. It's not a foolproof plan. You can do everything right and you still get a curveball. And so I said, do good, make good choices, but do so with an asterisk, because you never know. That's may or may not
Yeah.
be the way the cards end up falling down. They might end up working in your favor, or sometimes good people suffer and wicked people do great.
I had a professor, every time class ended, he said, "All right, I'll see you on Tuesday, Lord willing."
Lord willing.
It was like the worst way. It was like, okay, maybe we will.
People say,
that
Lord willing, or
Yeah.
should the Lord tarry?
Yes,
Should
yes.
the Lord tarry?
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that it's what you said a couple weeks ago too about sometimes bad things happen to good people. So we don't get immunity. God's working in the midst of that.
Yeah.
But there are no good people. So right, that's what you told us anyway.
Well, theologically, yeah. But I do think he wants you to pursue good choices.
Right.
So I think there's two extremes. You could totally have your act together. You could be Johnny Graves. You could make all the good choices in your life, right? Or you could be the kind
Johnny's
of person
looking at you really skeptically right there.
or you could be like the kind of person who just refuses to comply, just will not play by the rules. Just is like, hey, it doesn't matter anyway. I think it's important to recognize there's value in following wisdom, not being reckless. I don't think he's saying just live recklessly because it doesn't matter. I don't think he's saying that. But I also think he's saying be careful about your expectation that you're going to do it perfectly, and then this is just all going to work out like a chess game. That's not a good. That'll be disappointing too. So, you know what I'm saying?
No,
I don't know if I'm making any sense.
I'm feeling you. No, it's coming in.
Feeling it.
I think you have to just constantly fight against the grain of the world putting pressure on you to have certain things in place, right? Like you even mentioned with the insurance, right at the beginning of your sermon, right? We're the most insured.
Did you get some
ever.
amens from the insurance people out there? Insurance, yeah.
Did I? I got to pay more attention to these amen people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe not amen. It was like a That's what we do. We do
Mooing.
mooing. That's right.
What were you saying?
And I got mood
insurance thing.
Mood interrupted. Just fighting that constant grain of, I feel like our world is constantly telling us you need to have all these things in place all the time, and they're great if you do. It's great if you can afford insurance, and if something happens, you're there. But if you don't and you can't afford it, or things just don't work out that way,
right,
you just kind of have to live with what you have and continue on, and not let the world's pressures have you in a constant state of worry or anxiety.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, I don't want to give away Bob's passage here, but
don't be talking about the dead flies and the perfume, Dave.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Dead flies and perfume.
All right. So about the insurance thing, you could have life insurance, you could have long-term disability, you could have short-term disability, you could have identity theft insurance, you could have insurance on your phone, you could have insurance on your car, you can have all this stuff, and then something else will go wrong that you did not insure, that you did not think of. You just can't always think of everything, right? So, Bob, something about a snake charmer, but the snake could bite you before he's
snake,
charmed.
This doesn't matter if you haven't charmed the snake if he bites you before you charm it.
So even that, you just don't have control over everything, right? So I think he's just saying, be careful about thinking you can manage all the uncertainties in life, because that's not possible. So there's got to be a different way to live life where you don't have to have this obsession with control. There's got to be another way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your main theme was a lot about uncertainty.
Yes.
And so I guess you're sort of getting at it, but why do you think people are generally uncomfortable with uncertainty? Why are you uncomfortable with uncertainty?
It's going to stretch me in ways that I don't feel like being stretched, or I just might get in a position where I don't know what to do and I feel stupid, or I just have to do stuff that's really uncomfortable. I don't know. There's so many reasons why I don't like being uncertain. I like to know. Even right now, I don't even have any notes in front of me. I feel uncertain about where this conversation's going.
All right. Well, okay, good. Well, so one more question.
So life.
Yeah. Well, maybe to make you more uncertain, last question. Just tell us about the dog and the lion, man.
Okay. This is a weird passage.
That's right. That's my last question I'm going to ask you about the dog and the lion.
We live in a culture where dogs are very valuable. They're pets. You
and
you
expensive.
have you can pay a couple $1,000 for a purebred. cocker poodle or whatever, whatever you want. I don't know.
Dave's choice of dogs is known now.
Whatever.
A Yorkie Doodle.
You could get a Dalmatian, a golden retriever. Like, we in this country have a different relationship to dogs. Back then they were
Pomsky,
scroungy mutts, animals that would just be scavengers. No one kept them in their house, that kind of thing. So for them, like, to say a live dog was a valuable thing, that was like, no, they're not valuable. It would be like,
it didn't make any sense.
No. So, but a lion, they were like, that's the king of the jungle. They had a great respect for a lion. So they were saying a living dog is.
So are you saying did they keep lions? Well, I was thinking, they're kicking dogs out of their house, but they're bringing lions into their house.
I don't think they were keeping pet lions, as far as I know. But I'm just saying the point is being alive is better than being dead, because there's opportunities in your life right now as a living person. So it was just he's a weird way of saying things. Solomon's he's an interesting poet.
All right, and with that. All right. Yeah, and a final word? You want to give us a final word of hope, and then we'll sign off for today?
Well, I think it's important to understand that beef patty. So let's end on a serious note.
Like a Mac.
So, what he says there is one of the carpe diem passages, one of the enjoy life passages. When there's so many uncertainties, I don't know about you guys, but I forget to be fully present and to enjoy the gifts that God's given me in my life, to enjoy my job, to enjoy my hobbies, to enjoy my wife, to enjoy my kids. I can be so wrapped up, worried about the uncertainties that I'm missing out. So in this case, Solomon gives an imperative command. It says, go, enjoy this gift of life that God has given you right now. It's fleeting, it's futile, it's going to go away. Don't get all wrapped up in worrying about all these uncertainties. Like, here's something for certain. Go home and love your wife right now. So that's, I think wisdom that I regularly need. So that's my encouragement. We'll end on that.
That's a good place.
Good exhortation.
Man, thank you for taking us through the jungle and bringing us to that spot.
Did we make it out to the other side?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the lion. Is there a lion sitting next to you? I don't know. Talk about lions.
That led us to dead flies and ointment.
That's right. That's how we start next week. Dead flies and ointment.
And we'll pick it up right where we left off. A dead fly ruins the Chardonnay or whatever it is.
All right.
Closing song, Alanis Morissette.
That's right. Well, anyway, we hope you join us this week for the madness. We got a couple more weeks in Ecclesiastes. That's right. Yeah. All right. God bless. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. All right.